Welcome back, viewers, to Strike Fighters 2 for some more A4 Skyhawk action off the USS Coral Sea out in the Gulf of Tonkin, flying along with VA-153, the Blue Tail Flies, in 1967. You're joining me today on September 19th of that year, so another 9-ish days. I think we were on the 10th last time, is that? Yeah, I think that's right. So another 9 days has passed, so we're doing about a mission a week, plus or minus a couple of days. So we are now in our third week of missions, flying into Vietnam. And today, our mission is going to be to strike a strategic target located in the Quan Lang barracks, and we are to attack and destroy the enemy warehouse. We'll be call sign Denver. We'll be taking 2 A4 Skyhawks. Takeoff time at 9 a.m. Today's loadout identical to last time, with our 16 Mark 82 500-pound bombs. Although I'm going to make one change here. We're actually going to drop the fuel down to 75%. I have a suspicion that the poor landings last time out, in addition to being very late at night and being my second mission in a row and worrying about doing, video filming things, I think the plane was overweight because the missions were so close to the ship. I have become very accustomed to using every drop of fuel from the other afterburning airplanes of this era. So F-105 is super thirsty. Even the F-4, even though it has a lot of fuel in it, that can eat up gas really quickly. So now that we're back to something that is a little more economical on fuel, I think I was coming back a little heavy. So we're going to knock it down to 75% fuel today for what looks like 4,120 gallons. Or no, I guess that would be pounds, because this is totaling up total weight in pounds. So I guess it's 4,000 pounds of fuel. I guess that checks out, yeah. And we'll keep our 60 rounds of 20 mil ammo. So we'll keep that at 100%, but we'll knock that down. So that'll help a little bit. We are in aircraft 316, which is serial number 149959, which I'm pretty sure is different. I guess we banged up that other plane pretty bad, ripping the right landing gear off on landing. That it's either been totaled and shoved overboard, or maybe it's down in the hangar bay just undergoing repairs. But either way, this is today's aircraft. Denver 2 will have the same loadout, and although it doesn't really matter, we'll drop his fuel down as well. I say it doesn't matter because I've noticed that the AI never will run out of fuel completely. They'll call bingo and joker and all that stuff, but they never seem to drop out of the sky. So fuel is not a huge concern for them, but we'll knock down their takeoff weight at least. Okay. Take a look at the map here. So you can see we're going a little bit further north today. Instead of operating down here in the KFAT region, we'll go a little up closer to Vin. So this is up into Route Pack 3. And basically the same kind of thing that we've been doing, though. We'll be striking this Quan Lung. Again, it's an army base. Oh, isn't that interesting? It says Quan Lung, like a lung, in your chest on the map, but the target area is Quan Lang. Curious. But this airfield indicator here is actually not an airfield. Once again, it's just a large army base, and you can see here from the photo recon picture, we've got a bunch of looks like SA2 storage, several guard shacks, and a lot of warehouses here in the middle. And so, oh, and of course all the barracks themselves. We will be going for this large, bright warehouse on the east side of the compound. North is up in this photo, so we'll be coming in from the south, pitching over. We'll do that little pop-up maneuver again, and yeah, we'll drop our bombs here, boom, and then we are hard right turn, and then we're out, actually right over downtown Vin here, it looks like, as we egress back to sea, and then around to the Coral Sea. Roster today is me in Denver 1, Denver 2, Ensign Christopher Blonsky. who has done 5 combat missions, so real low timer, but he does have 4 air-to-ground kills, so pretty good. Also, his condition is 0 at the moment, so he's pretty fresh, ready to go. Alright, that's going to do it. I don't think I've missed anything, so no time like the present. Let's get out and get underway.
Red Crown, go for lead. Passing waypoint 2. Go for 1. Red Crown, copy that. Red Crown, go for lead. Passing waypoint 2. Go for 1. Red Crown.
And salute. Off we go. There's our 500 feet. Come back a little bit on the throttle. Number 2 is looking good behind us. Yep. Perfect. So, let's see, what's my waypoint? There we go. We'll head to waypoint 3 next, begin our climb up to cruising altitude of... what are we going up to, like 6,000 feet today? ECM on, that's our deceptive ECM jammer. So not sending out your bursts of energy in the active jamming kind, but now presenting many ghosts of aircraft on the enemy radar screen, so making it not easy to decipher which object is the real object. Today, we finally have a mission that's long enough to give us a bit of time on the way into the target. So, let's take the opportunity to talk about our new ship, the USS Coral Sea. I did her a disservice when I mistakenly called her an Essex class back in episode 1, but she is, in fact, a Midway class carrier. I'm even using a mod that adds the Midway to the game as its own ship, rather than the generic Essex that the game normally assigns. But at the time I was flustered after having some problems getting recording started, and in the heat of the moment I said the wrong class of the ship. But with all that behind us, let's look forward to the Midways. There were only 3 Midway class ships: the Midway herself, the Franklin D. Roosevelt, and the Coral Sea. Construction of the first ship began in 1943, and the Midways were the first U.S. carriers to be too wide to fit through the Panama Canal. While newer locks have been constructed today, at the time the ship was 10 feet wider than the 110-foot canal. The massive size increase over the previous Essex class was actually enough to warrant a new prefix designation, and the ships were known as CVBs, or Aircraft Carrier Large. The USS Coral Sea also had the distinction of being the last carrier built with a straight deck. Completed in 1946, she joined the fleet in 1947 and began making cruises to the Mediterranean. None of the 3 Midway-class ships participated in the Korean War, as they were considered to be essential in the event of nuclear war in Europe. The Coral Sea herself had been part of the testing that proved that naval aviation could deliver nuclear weapons. This demonstration, by the way, was much to the anger of the U.S. Air Force, who was determined to have jurisdiction over all nuclear weapons and, in fact, all American aircraft, as at that time they were also arguing that the Navy and Marines should not maintain separate air forces. In 1952, the Coral Sea was given the Attack Carrier designation, becoming CVA-43, and in 1957, she went through a 2.5-year overhaul to get her new angled flight deck, along with other modernizations. This was known as SCB-110, the project number issued by the Ship Characteristic Board. This was similar to the upgrades that Essex-class ships got with SCB-127 in the early 1950s. Coral Sea was back in the fleet by 1960. She deployed to Vietnam for the first time in December of 1964, arriving on station just in time to participate in Operation Flaming Dart, one of the early operations in the war, which was followed immediately by Rolling Thunder. In total, Coral Sea would make 8 Vietnam deployments between 1964 and 1975. This campaign that we're in now would have been her 3rd visit. A couple of deployments later, Coral Sea will be notable for launching all the aircraft for Operation Pocket Money on May 9th, 1972. I find this mission so interesting that for years I've wanted to make a standalone episode about it. Eventually I will. But to sum it up, Pocket Money was, finally, the mining of Haiphong Harbor to deter neutral, in other words, Soviet and Cuban, shipping from supplying arms and food to the North Vietnamese. The meticulous planning of the raid was meant to have the mines dropping into the harbor at the very instant that President Nixon was announcing the blockade in a televised press conference. 3 A-6 intruders and 6 A-7 Corsairs from Coral Sea began their mine drops at 08:59 local time within a minute of their planned execution time of 0900 sharp. In Washington, Nixon had written and rehearsed his speech to ensure the time aligned exactly with 9 p.m. In just 2 minutes, all mines were confirmed in the water, and word was flashed to the White House and Nixon given the cue. Just moments after 9 p.m. and 1 minute, Nixon read the part of his speech announcing that Haiphong was now blockaded. The mines had a 72-hour fuse to allow neutral shipping to vacate. After that, the harbor was closed for the next 300 days, a huge step towards finally convincing North Vietnamese leadership to take negotiations seriously. Coral Sea would also participate in the Iran hostage crisis in 1980, when her aircraft supported the unsuccessful and aborted rescue attempt on April 24th. Continuing her service into the 1980s, she launched the new F-18 Hornet's first combat missions as the aircraft attacked SAM sites along the Libyan coast in 1986. After 43 years of service, Coral Sea was decommissioned on April 26, 1990. She was towed to Philadelphia Naval Yard and later to Baltimore for final scrapping. Out ahead of us on the left is the mountain range that we used to pass every single day in the A1 campaign, if you remember that far back. I can't for the life of me remember what it was called, but this big domed mountain is the first thing we can see from far away approaching the coast. And here we are once again using it as a reference landmark.
Denver, lead, red ground, Spanish, right 2 o'clock.
Alright, on the gas a little bit. We're a little behind. And to the left of our escort flight, there they are. Out ahead of us.
Denver, lead, red ground, bogey.
More calls for bogey. So as we come over the coast, we'll drop down to 5,000 feet and do about between 400 to 450 knots for the run in. We're just over 3,000 pounds fuel, which is good. We'll do the high-speed run, which will burn off a bunch of it. And then we should be back on the boat with, I don't know, between 1,000 and 2,000 pounds of fuel. Preferably closer to 1,000. And we are starting to pick up some flak there, so as we come in right over this inlet here, we'll start a nice banking descent. We're not going too low.
Denver, lead, red ground.
We gotta keep it above 5,000 feet so that we stay out of range of small arms fire. So as bad as it is picking up flak and heavy machine guns, I think it's, what is it? It's like 4750 like 4,700 feet was around the effective range for things like AK-47 fire, where troops on the ground could literally just shoot up at planes and have a legitimate risk of doing damage to them. Above 5,000 feet, you're pretty clear of that. Although, of course, the higher you go, especially up north, that gets you into the SAM envelope, so that's the danger you need to manage. Drop the radar down to 20 miles at this point. Okay, we have two large concentrations directly ahead of us, so that's not great.
Red Crown, copy.
Okay, we can see one of them there is just off our nose, the P-35. We're actually going
Red Crown.
to jink over to the right here, though. So actually, we'll miss that. We'll go wide right of that, so we don't need to worry about it. There we go, course 300. I saw that we were right behind or right near the F4s somewhere. Yeah, oh, right there. Ramrod is right above us and ahead of us, so we're going to slip underneath them. We're doing 400 knots here. I'm going to keep this up as we make our way in until about 5 miles, and then we'll begin the pop-up.
Red Crown, copy. It's going down the street. I'm hit. Take it, David.
Oh boy. Something interesting going on further north.
Box 1. Box 1.
Nothing too close, though, because our escorts are not moving to engage anybody, and with the F-4's speed and their long-range missiles, we can be pretty assured that there's no danger, at least that they can detect in the area. There we go, right down there. Another one of those army bases. In fact, something is shooting. You can see some flashes. Yep. And there's flak banging around us. Whoop. Number 2 just got detected by some sort of radar, so he's on the defensive. Do a bit of evasive here. Now what I don't want him doing is going to attack a radar site. Because obviously that is not what we are here to do. See, the F-4 is picking up flak behind us at altitude. Back to 6,000 feet. Ooh, a kill up there somewhere. Where's number 2? What are you doing? Okay, he's coming back into formation. Good. 8 miles from our initial point, and then we'll be turning right and heading up to the north there, along the river to the south side. Can't quite see it yet, I guess. What's that, Vin up there? Yes, if I pull out my map, that's Vin. This is the Ka River. And our site is just going to be on the south side of the riverbanks. Coming up on 1 mile now. Okay. 500 pounders are selected. 0 miles onto heading. What is that? Like 335? to our waypoint. Is 2 with me? 2, where are you at?
2, copy. I rejoined him.
I think he's close, I just can't see him. I think he's behind me. Yep.
5.
Come on, buddy. Catch up, and then we'll start making this high-speed run. There we go. You can see just barely there the brown splotch in some of the buildings. That is our target. In fact, that white guy, that is our primary target right there.
Fox 1. Red Crown, go for a speed. We're approaching up.
Right, full power.
Go for 1. Red Crown, copy.
So I haven't gotten the exact distances right yet, but we're going to try 5 miles to start pulling up to 12,000 feet.
1. Red Crown, copy that. Red Crown, Tiger, speed. Approaching target. 5 minutes out. Tiger 1. Red Crown, copy.
Quick check for any unfriendly specks. Looks fairly clear at the moment. There's 5 miles. Let's start pulling up. Nice and steep.
Tuna 1. Red Crown.
Going right up to the base of these clouds today.
We're approaching up target. 5 minutes.
Speed is dropping down, but we're still good. There's 10,000. There's 11. We'll roll it on the back.
Target 5 minutes. Handle 1.
Ah, see, we're a little far away still.
I got one.
We're coming back down. Wingman, attack my target.
Attacking your target. Fox 1.
Alright, we're going to be a little shallow this time, but let's start making our way in.
2.
Let the speed come up before we pop the brakes. Yeah, see, we're pretty shallow.
Waypoint.
We're not even at 30 degrees, but
Red Crown. Copy that.
there is 6,000 feet. Let's release. Speed brake is coming in as we are getting pinged by a radar. Hard brake to the right. Avoid this flak. Ah, I've gone long. Actually, was not expecting that. There we go. Good job. Number 2 right on the money. Rejoin. Let's go. We're just holding the G's through this turn. There we go. We've cleared the radar lock. There's Vin. Back down to 5,000 feet here for the full power egress. Lots of destruction back there. Looking good. Oh, number 2 still has bombs on board. He didn't actually drop everything. Interesting.
One. Bombs away. Bombs away. Fox 2. He's going down in flames.
There's waypoint 6 pulling around to waypoint 7. There's Vin. We've got another installation, army base right here by the coastline with more AAA guns. So this will be the final gauntlet before we get back out to sea. Oh, I can actually see, yeah, there's 2. There's a early warning radar down there and a fire directing radar down there. Wow, and they are right on top of me. We go for a hard climb here. Okay, and they're picking me up, but I think it's going to be a little too late.
Copy that.
Sam's launching up north.
I've got a spike.
Oh, and number 2 is getting picked up, I think, by that same radar that got me. You can see him peeling away back down. Oh, he's actually just going to go for it. That's a bold move.
I've got a spike.
Trying to remember, I think at this point, by 1967,
Red crown.
making an attack of your own volition like this is not the court-martialable offense that it used to be. Remember, we talked a lot about in the very early war, you know, 65, even into 66, attacking any target that was not authorized was grounds for major disciplinary action. I think by this time, 67, that's relaxed a little bit. Looks like whatever he was aiming at, he completely missed, but at least he got rid of those bombs on something useful, so... On his way back now. Oops, there we go, 40 miles on the old radar. And we're just above 12,000 feet for the ride back home. So there's Denver 2 just behind us. Gopher and Anvil flights are clearing the coastline back out to sea. Yeah, whatever all this action is, it's happening way up north by Hanoi because we can't even see it. I can't zoom out anymore, so we are not exactly sure what's going on up there. So yeah, so 5 miles out, I guess I can pull up a lot later than that. We can get a lot closer, maybe even down to, 3 miles maybe? We'll try that next time we have a strike. We'll go 4 or even 3 miles, then do the pop-up, and then roll over. Because that ended up being too far away, and then we were too shallow, and then I overcompensated, and then ended up missing the target anyways. The bombs went long. But luckily our number 2 was Johnny on the spot with those 500-pounders and finished it off. The only thing left is going to be to make a successful carrier landing. And I did something that I should have done before I started the series, which was to actually practice some landings in the A4 instead of just jumping into it and winging it. So I'm pretty confident that you can see we're under the 2,000 pound mark for fuel. So coming in light on fuel will help me a lot. And then also I'm going to fly the pattern a bit higher than you normally would because I can't see out of this airplane. The cockpit is very restrictive and I can't move the seat up and down like you would be able to in a real plane. In fact, maybe your normal head position would be, it would not even be this low in the cockpit perhaps. You'd be able to see more of the nose, but not so here in the game. So while I can, if I look up, I can see out over the nose a little bit. So if I just do a little bit of up on the track IR, it does give me a little extra visibility out underneath the nose there, but not a lot. So coming in on speed for this plane, proper on speed golden donut it's just not possible. It's about 120 knots, but the nose is so high that I can't see anything. So that's more dangerous than coming in faster. So I'm just gonna be aware that if I fly the pattern a little bit higher, then as I turn into base and final, I can let the nose come down and we'll have a higher rate of descent through the turn, but I can actually see. And then we'll just have to make sure that we don't hit the deck so hard that we break something again. So that's the plan. And we're just cruising here at 400 knots once again. Denver 2 coming up behind. Oh, he's pretty far back. Just take a moment to admire the pretty paint job on this. Now I don't remember where I got it. It may have come from Ace Combat or it may have come from somewhere else, but this is actually a specific mod pack of high definition A4 paint jobs. So someone went through and just did detailed work on Skyhawks through all the campaigns, and so that's an entire pack unto itself. So that's why we have the splash screen that is that's real pretty. You know, when we're on the briefing screen, that was custom made by the author, and then all of these A4 color and paint schemes, these were all meticulously painted and I assume researched. You can see on the splash screen actually when we're in the briefing, it tells you exactly what the dates were for the deployment for VA-153. So it's either when you go back at the beginning of this episode or next time at the beginning of next episode, keep an eye out for it because it actually says USS Coral Sea VA-153, and then it gives you, I think it was July of 67 on into December, or maybe even January of 68, whenever they left. So yeah, when you play with this mod and you do choose an A4, you get a lot of detail that it goes beyond even what is the normal Vietnam Air and Sea pack or whatever it's called, the golden mod.
Viewing fleet, advancement waypoint 7. View it, 1, red ground, copy.
Alright, we're a little off course here, but we are 10 miles away from our next waypoint, which is gonna begin our descent to get onto the base recovery course of the ship. We'll begin our landing preparations.
Copy.
Still at 12,000 now. This thing will drop out of the sky pretty fast, so once we hit the next waypoint, then I'll go into a descent, and we'll come down to 800 feet for the flyby.
Anvil 1, red ground, copy that.
Yep, there's that mountain. My brain keeps wanting to say the Tam Do Mountain, but of course that's not it. That's Thud Ridge, up to the north. Tam Do Mountain Range. I've been dealing with that mountain range for so much more recently that that's all I can remember. What's crazy is that the A1, when I first started doing this, the A1 campaign, that was literally in 2016. It must have been, because I had just moved to Scranton and I had just started my flight training. I was just starting to get my pilot's license and going to my first college that I went to for a semester and a half. So that would have been right around that time, late 2016. And that's when I started this, and that is... more time has passed in real life than has passed in the game. It's kind of like MASH. The show lasted longer than the war itself, or we're starting to get there with Strike Fighters too. It doesn't help that I keep restarting new series that put us back in 1965. So I mean, we've started in 65 like 5 times. No, maybe not that many times, but definitely Navy, VPAF, F-105. Alright, so I guess just 3. But we keep going back there. But yeah, we're 2024 now, so that's a lot. It's like almost 8 years ago. On our descent now, actually, we need to come back even more because there's our ship right over there. Hook is out. coming down. Okay, no, Denver 2 is going to stick with me, so we'll give him the order to brake as we pass over the ship. There is 1,700 feet. We're a little slow. Get us back up to 350. There is 1,000 feet. We can do ECM off. Then we shot up over 350. All right. The moment of truth approaches.
Copy.
There's the ship checking the landing area. Looks clear. Deck is good, not fouled. We tell Mr. Man to return to base.
Roger. And back to base.
Off he goes. And off we go into the break. There's 250 as we're coming around. Whoops, gear is gonna wait to come out. We're using a bit of altitude gaining to slow us as well. There we go, less than 200 on this plane. Set to landing. Speed brake will remain out for the moment.
Waypoint 8. View it. 1. Red ground.
So you can see we're a little bit higher. In fact, we're up at 1,400 feet. But again, doing that a little bit on purpose so that as we come around here, we can maintain our view of the ship. So we're not that far off. We're at 130 knots. So even though our indicator here is telling us that we are fast, we're only about 10 knots off of where we would need to be to make that happy. See, we're just starting to get the stall buffet there. We're looking up a little bit, and I can feel myself drifting a little low. We'll toggle the brakes. There we go. If I can just see the landing area just left of the gun sight, I can guide it in. Come on, buddy. Gonna make it. Yes, and that's a good capture. Okay, and we actually came up on the power that time, as we're supposed to. All right, so that worked a lot better. We'll do hook up. And brakes disengaged, and we'll taxi clear. All right, looking good. We're going to shut down, and I'll meet you downstairs back in the debriefing room, and we'll go through the mission.
Gunslinger 1. Red ground. Copy.
Right. Welcome back down below with the proper background here. Let's go over this mission. Let's see what we did right, what we did wrong. Our objective was to strike the strategic target located in the barracks, attack and destroy the enemy warehouse, which we did get eventually. Flight time was 35 minutes and 55 seconds, so quite short. But coming back with, I think, the perfect amount of fuel, so the 75% loading worked out exactly how I wanted it to. I was very happy with that. Result, primary target was destroyed. Rating of success, score of 250, because I didn't get the kill, the wingman did, but we're all on the same team here. In fact, stats show that I didn't hit anything. Complete whiff today. Ensign Blonsky, on the other hand, he got 9 hits for 15 kills. Oh, that's interesting. So this second run, I think, on the AAA, I don't think he hit anything, but he must have hit enough things through the center of that barracks area that he probably got a lot of secondary building kills, so we'll look at that in a second. But Ensign Blonsky for, what is this, number 6? Yes, combat mission number 6. He ups his air-to-ground kills all the way to 11. Nothing for me, but I've got plenty. I'm not worried about that. Looking at the log, 9/17/26. This is where I launched, or I always say launch because the stupid stats say fired. It just throws me. You know when you're trying to say one word and you're looking at a different word? My brain goes faster than my mouth all the time anyways, which is why I can't speak half the time. But the it says here I fired a Mark 82 500-pound bomb, but we dropped the bombs here, and of course those all missed. But here comes Blonsky. Let's see, and I was taking up... Okay, so it looks like I passed over... The nice thing was I passed over the site, and all of these AAA guns were looking at me. And in fact, we had that radar lock on us from the fire directing radar, so... from the fire can, right? So everyone was looking at me, and Blonsky was able to sneak in and get these bombs off. So what did he hit? Oh, here we go. 9/17/44. He hit and destroyed a barrack, another barrack. He destroyed the warehouse. He hit it with 2 direct bombs, so that really leveled that place. He destroyed a hangar, another barrack, another barrack, another barrack. Jeez, he hit the motor pool apparently, because here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trucks. That's where all of those kills came from. All these ZIL 157s, the ZILs, he got 2 trucks, 2 fuels, 2 flats, another fuel. So yeah, awesome. Just a bomb landed right where it needed to and took all of these guys out. Then after that, we just have a string of AAA firing at us. Here's Blonsky dropping the remainder of his bombs, but as I thought, he doesn't hit anything. They came up well short. I think he was firing at either the radar site that was over on the north side of that site or one of the AAA guns that I saw firing, but in fact, may have been this S68T, but he did not hit anything. But I don't know, still better than bringing him back to the boat. So yeah, so we dropped him. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that one. I feel like I made up for last time's silliness with a good one and done approach and carrier landing. Much more controlled that time. So hope you enjoyed that. Come back next time as we continue the A4 campaign. We'll see what we have in store for us. We haven't gone up north yet, up into the actual difficult RPs, but I'll bet that's coming soon, so maybe next time. All right, have a great day, and I will see you then.